Good day, folks. Welcome to MB Wildman channel. On today's video, we're going back to the basics with some trap dye. Now, this is an all-natural way to dye your traps. It's one of many different ways. I just wanted to show you this one. I've got one for using sumac, staghorn sumac. If you want to check that out, it's on the channel. And listen, if you haven't yet subscribed to the MB Wildman channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We sure would appreciate it. And as always, we're looking for questions, comments, feedback, whatever you got. Feel free to leave those in the comment section down below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can on those. Now, I know some of you guys out there, especially trappers, in general, you use commercial dye. Use like logwood trap dye, or you use whatever it is you use to dye and wax your traps. I don't mind using that stuff. I'm not against it by any means, but I do like to use natural when possible, especially because it's cheap and it's not that bad to do. Sometimes it takes a few more batches than the trap dye that you buy, but again, it's cost effective. So anyway, like I said, I got the sumac one on the channel already, and today we're going to use maple leaves and some bark and twigs. I just want to show you how that's done and what a great job maple does as well. So anyway, what I like to do when I get out here in the woods is I like to pick a nice young maple. So make sure you got permission, or make sure you own the land or whatever before you start doing this. But I like to use just little tiny maple bushes almost, right? Like those that grow up around a maple stump that's been cut. This one, probably 3 feet tall, maybe 4 max. Okay, that's kind of where I like to be. You'll notice them out in the woods because they have big maple leaves in comparison to the size of the tree, right? So there's a nice big maple leaf in comparison to the size of the little bush that it was on. As the trees grow and get bigger, these leaves will tend to get smaller the more of them are on the tree. But anyway, that's not the point. So I like to have whatever pot I'm going to use to boil my traps with me because I want to fill it with maple leaves about a quarter of the way. Sometimes a little more than a quarter, but that's a quarter is lots, okay? So whatever you're going to boil your traps in, you want to fill it a quarter of the way up with maple leaves, okay? And you want to do that from young maple. Okay, a couple things to pay attention for, or to, that'll help you out with this. It'll make it go a little better, a little quicker, especially on the end where you boil, is make sure that when you pick the leaf, okay, make sure you get the stem, right? So there's the big leaf, and that's lovely, but you want to make sure you get this. You want to make sure you get this stem part right here. If it's got a nice long stem, then you want to take that and put it in the pot as well. Okay. Also, if you own the land, or you're not too concerned about the land owner, if you've got a nice young branch like this that juts off the main tree and it comes out into these maple leaves, take it too. Okay. So take the branch and you can break it up into 4 or 5 inch pieces and put that in with your mix as well. So basically you want the leaves and the stems and a few young branches. That's what you want to fill your pot about a quarter of the way up with, okay? Try to select an area too, or a tree, or a place, I guess, where by you harvesting these leaves and little branches, you're not going to kill the tree, okay? We never want to end up leaving the forest worse than when we found it, so I'd never recommend you do anything to harm, the forest or the trees while you're out there, harvesting what you need. Okay. So there I've got about a quarter, maybe a little more, but once it scrunches down and we get the, some of the air out of it, we got about a quarter of the pot that I'm going to use to boil, full of maple leaves and little branches, all maple, okay? So you got your pot, and it's about a quarter full of the leaves that you're going to use and the little sticks and the branches, from the maple trees. The only other thing you're going to need here is, of course, the traps that you're going to use to boil. And you need a pillowcase, okay, just an old pillowcase. Make sure that your family doesn't want this one back, because at the end of it, it's going to be stained pretty good with the same type of color that the traps are, okay? So it doesn't have to be, there's no rules or regulations on the kind of pillowcase that you use, and what this is for is just so the little bits and pieces of the leaves, as they break down, don't stick to your trap, and then you have to wash those off, and if you do, it'll leave it like a little blank spot or a little bare spot on the trap that didn't get dyed. Okay, so anyway, into the pillowcase go all of the leaves and twigs and all that stuff that you went ahead and collected until you had about a quarter of your bucket full. That all goes into the pillowcase. Okay, so you got that in the pillowcase, and the only other thing that you're going to do, because this is a reaction, and you have to, like, the leaves have to break down, okay, to release the dye, the natural dye that's in there. There's a way to speed that process up a little bit, and the way you do it is by adding 1 or 2, you know, cups of ashes. So from like your fire, campfire, whatever. So all I did was go to the little stove in the other garage and scooped out just some ashes, you know, maybe a cup and a half or 2. And I'm going to add that to the leaves and sticks and stuff that I've collected. I'm going to put that right in the pillowcase, okay? Once that's done, we're just going to close this up. Now you don't want to close it up so that this stuff is super tight, because you want the water to be able to kind of bubble away in there. But you're just going to pinch off the end of your pillowcase here. You can tie it. You can use the trusty old zip tie. That's what I do. So I just zip tie the end of this closed. Just like this. And again, it doesn't have to be completely sealed. It's just a matter of trying to keep those bits and pieces of leaves from getting on the trap. Okay, so there you go. So you got your maple leaves, and you got your ashes from your stove. Gonna put that back into the container. Whatever you're gonna use to boil your traps in, you're gonna put that right back in there. And then you're gonna fill this most of the way up with water and get it on to boil. So today we're going to be doing up some 110s that I've had kicking around the garage. They're pretty well cleaned up, but they've got a nice, you know, light surface coat of rust. These are certainly not new traps by any means. And obviously I would be, you know, typically doing a larger batch in a much bigger pot than this, but this is just to demonstrate how well this process works. So I've got everything I need in the pillowcase. I've got the pillowcase in the water. And now all I'm going to do is add my traps, right? As you add the traps, the pillowcase will sink, right? All right, you just let that sink down. And basically from here, it's up to you just, you know, how dark you want your traps. I typically let this, once it gets to a nice rolling boil, okay, I'm going to leave those traps in there for about 90 minutes. That's all it usually takes. And after 90 minutes, you can pull them out, and you've got your own natural free trap dye. Okay, so we're back here. It's been a little more than 90 minutes. My propane tank ran out, so I had to switch it. So I'm not sure how long it actually boiled before it ran out. So once I switched it, I went again and just did it for another 60 minutes just to be sure. So it's been, I'm thinking it's around 90 minutes that it's been in here. And as you can see, we take this stuff out, and this is a great, we're going to hang it up here. Elliot's going to hold the stick up, and I mean, check out that color, right? That's all natural dye. And you saw what they were like before they went in, and here they are now, all nice and dark, right? So we're going to hold,
this one's,
those are a few snares that I had done. They come out green. Something to do with the way the snare wire and the maple leaves, but that's a great, that'll be another video, another day. So let's hold that like that, Elliot, and we'll show the...
Oh, this one's heavy.
You got it?
Yeah.
There's going to be 2 or 3 of them, okay?
Okay.
So it really,
good.
It really works well as far as a good color goes. It's all natural, and the best part is that it's free, okay? So this is stuff you can do in the off season that you don't have to buy the logwood dye if you don't want to. You can just go ahead and use the maple leaves and the little maple twigs like I showed you how to collect, and then you'll be all set. And again, if you got a bigger batch or you want to do more, you just collect more maple stuff up, right? So you, there we go. So we'll hold this part. You got that end, bud?
Yep.
All right, so these are the 4 traps that we dyed, 90 minutes in the maple leaves and mixture.
They turned out good.
And they turned out real well, nice and dark. Once these dry, ready to head out on the line.
Yay!
Okay? So anyway, I hope this is something that you can use and helps you out. And as always, until next time, happy hunting from the MB Wildman channel.